And hello, everyone. Welcome to the 26th annual Shuttlecast. My name is Sal.
I'm Nathan.
And we got some variety of things to discuss today.
Yeah.
There's some good... Oh,
no.
We have a guest. That's awesome.
Today's a wild one because my wife is out today. So rather than be exiled from the main room, the dogs are exiled with me so I can keep an eye on them. So this is an interesting one. They should calm down.
Soon-ish.
Ish.
But we got pups today.
We got pups. We got a little ambient barking.
Yeah. It's we keep it real here. All right.
Exactly.
So, well, I will go first and discuss the films I have recently seen that are new. I did go to the movie theaters today.
Oh my god.
I know. I finally, it's been like a month. So I was really in need to go to the movies.
Which is wild that that's a long time at this point.
That's long for me, man. It's a whole month of AMC plus A-list I didn't utilize.
That's a good point. You for that 1 month, you were their favorite customer.
Yeah, because I didn't buy anything. It was awful, man. It was awful.
You just gave us money without doing anything.
Can you keep doing that? No, you fucks. But yeah, I went to the theaters and I saw a movie called Flow. And like, what? That's not a Wicked, Gladiator. It's none of the ones that you would see. No, motherfucker, I saw Flow. It's not copy pasting correctly, but that's okay. It's cool. I have a new computer literally waiting for me after the podcast, so hopefully next time we record, this like weird copy paste situation fixes itself.
Upgrades, baby.
Upgrades. That'll come back later. Oh, god damn it. But it's a movie about a cat. And okay. Some of the audience in my theater, oh Jesus Christ help me, didn't know that it did not have any talking whatsoever.
Oh, I'm sure they love that.
Oh no. It was so bad. After the movie, oh my goodness Christ. Everyone probably watching this at home is like, is he okay? Control C. Control V. Okay, it finally worked. I had to say it. Like a fucking chant. Like when Guardian Leviosa, please work. Okay.
Yeah, you can't always do mental spells. Sometimes you gotta verbalize that shit.
You do. Oh my god. So yeah, so Flow was a really cute movie. I saw the trailer a while ago when I went to go see Look Back. And because that was like an artsy anime movie, they showed like a bunch of trailers for things that you would not normally see if you're just gonna go see like Wicked.
Love it.
So we were like, oh my god, we should catch that if that's ever in theaters around us. And then it was, and then we were like, but like, you know, we have stuff we want to do, we don't want to go out. And so we kind of held off for like a week, and we were like, oh no, it's not going to be there. But it was, and we caught it. It was very, very cute. It was it was kind of sad. It was pretty sad. I'd say that the wild robot was sadder, but it had the added bonus of it did have voice acting.
Yeah.
Whereas this was just animal noises. And to be fair, sad animal noises will also make me very sad. But it was essentially like about this cat who, like, a flood happens and the cat's like trying to escape the flood. And as this is happening, he's meeting up with other animals like a capybara and a lemur and a golden retriever and a bird. And again, no voice acting, no talking whatsoever. It's all visual storytelling. Denis Villeneuve loves this movie. It was French. There was like 3 minutes of production companies before the movie actually started.
Incredible.
And I was like, because it had to be the animation studios and then the original French team and then the American distribution. Okay, I get it.
It takes an army.
It does to release this little cute movie, but it had a lot of it was like a story about like in the worst of times, like it really hit me because it was about like making your own family and growing bonds with people you meet a lot during like awful situations. There's two of the animals in the movie. They like the lemur is like outcast from the other lemurs and tries to like do things to make them happy, but they won't accept him. The golden retrievers are like in a pack of dogs, and most of the dogs are really bullish and like rude and angry, but the golden retriever like likes the cat a lot and prefers the cat. The bird gets like outcasted for protecting the cat.
Oh.
But they all like come together to form like their own family and come through this awful situation of like the water just keeps rising. And like they manage to get on a boat and they're gathering more friends to the boat, but the water just like keeps rising.
Okay.
And it's this constant dread and like anxiety because the cat will like fall off the boat and then all of a sudden it's like super far away and you're like, fuck, I hope the cat makes it.
Yeah.
As it's going like meow, meow. And you're like, no, Jesus Christ. Like 8K cat crying is but it was very good. And there was also like I noticed too there was no humans in the movie, but there was clearly like humans existed. And there's a lot of like Dark Souls environmental storytelling of like I was piecing together like what had happened in the world. And it was like, oh my god.
Interesting.
Like this is kind of dark. Like I won't spoil how like they fixed the flooding, but it's like kind of insane and you're like, oh god, wait.
Oh boy.
It's really fun. It was a good movie. Support like not Disney Pixar animation movies.
Hell yeah.
Support original films in theaters. So that's why I saw this, because I was like, before I go see War of the Rohirrim and Craven and Nosferatu and Sonic and all the other fucking movies I want to go see, I'm gonna go make sure I catch Flow before it leaves theaters.
You're doing your part.
I did my part, and I watched a new movie. I also watched another new movie. This was not in theaters. This was a Netflix movie. It's called Outside. And I watched this for a reason we'll kind of discuss a bit later because I don't want to get too into it right now. But I am for reasons getting back into zombies. Maybe we'll talk about it after this. So we watched Outside because it is a Filipino zombie movie. My husband is Filipino. And it was like, oh, I've never heard of this. This just came out this year. Let's do it. And it was really good. It also was sometimes not really a zombie movie. It was much more of a generational trauma, fragile masculinity movie set within a zombie apocalypse.
Interesting.
The movie was about generational trauma and control and trust and what trauma will make you do and how you become your parents. And gaslighting and lying and like the boy who cried wolf is like I was thinking it and then the movie literally had a character read the book and I was like, okay, yes, I get it. Yep. Like I was putting 2 and 2, but thank you for showing me the equation.
Little on the nose.
It was a little because it was like a kid and he was like, is that what's happening to daddy?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes. Yes it is. So that was a little on the nose, but I mean, say for the most part it was pretty good about it. Yeah, so it kind of felt like more of in line of what if Mike Flanagan did a zombie movie where he wouldn't focus on the zombies too much and would probably focus on the trauma of people stuck in this situation, and there happens to be zombies there.
Yeah, because that is, I feel like that's the understanding he has where to make something scary and impactful, you actually have to kind of show the long-term effect it is having on people, and not just continually expose them to the same stimuli.
Yeah, and also there's some good bits in this movie where, in my Letterboxd review, I talked about how it's more of a zombie outbreak and not a zombie apocalypse, and how the dad uses the fact that the zombies are, they suspect not going to be around for very long because they are corpses that are walking around, but how he uses that knowledge to kind of obfuscate it from the family to keep control.
Okay.
Like, I kind of feel like he likes being in a zombie apocalypse because of this, like, of how his family's in a constantly terrified state and looking up to him to help and provide. And he's kind of finally the man of the house after being overshadowed by, like, his own dad and his older brother for so long.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like a fun, it's like the zombies do matter.
Yeah.
But the way they play with it is very interesting.
It sounds intriguing. And you said it was a Filipino movie?
Yes. They do like slip into English every once in a while, and I asked my husband, I'm like, does that? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a thing. We do flip back and forth. But it is really good. I liked it a lot. Yeah, it was solid. There's like one or two logical things where I'm like, but I brushed it under the rug because of everything else is so solid that I was like, yeah, okay. Sure, you left the car when there was no reason to. Whatever. The rest of the movie is like fantastic. I'll give you the one like, all right.
Yeah, there's always at least one or two stupids that you gotta poo away to
like
keep the story going.
Yeah, once you're out of that allowance, then I'm like, okay, Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. Oh God.
You only get so many gimmies until I'm like,
Okay, pull it the fuck together.
Like, I keep having to logic my way around.
I wasn't laughing before, and I still am not now. So you need to stop,
please. But yeah, those are the two films that I saw that came out this year that I put on my list. My list is I fell off my list. I feel bad, but I'm back on it. I made a list of 2024 movies I have to watch that I haven't watched yet. It's about, God, how many is it? Like 16 movies.
Well, hey, you're 2 weeks out from the end, so if you do 1+ a day, you'll knock it out before the year ends.
That's true. That's true. I could. I'm gonna watch one tonight. I'm gonna watch Your Monster, which is Melissa Barrera from Scream, and Abigail.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, it seems like this movie is Lisa Frankenstein, but with a werewolf. I will take it.
If it works, it works.
2 tickets, please. So, Nathan, why would I watch zombie things?
Well, it's funny because you must have known that this week I also watched zombie things.
I must have.
You must have.
I didn't, but I must have.
Something got us in sync.
Something happened.
Something happened. And it's very interesting because I took a little trip to the asylum, and I watched a movie called Dead Men Walking from 2005. Once again, as a disclaimer, this one is not a mockumentary, so my game show is again pushed off until whenever the next one is. I don't know.
No, boo.
I know. But I was pretty interested in this one with how it started, because it starts with a man holing up in his house with a shotgun and fighting off zombies as they break in. We're thrown right into the action. And he shoots them all down. There's like 4 or 5, and he's like amping himself up, getting ready, and then all of a sudden police come in and they're like, "Fucking weapon down!" And he's like, "Oh shit!" And he gets cuffed and he gets slam down onto the ground, and his face gets pushed into a little blood puddle from a zombie he killed. Um, and so we find out very quickly that there is not really a zombie outbreak. It's like it was just these ones, and no one was aware. So to these cops, he just gunned down a bunch of people.
Interesting
So
take. This is actually kind of interesting.
yeah. I was like, okay, this is new. I haven't seen a lot of this.
Like we're
Um,
trying.
yeah, this was an idea. Um, and so he gets taken to a supermax prison because he's like an instant. I forget what they uh, mass killer. I forget. Um,
Nailed
and
it.
he is very clearly fucked up. He's he's coughing and he's sniffling and he's not looking good. And the guard is too busy trying to reenact the Shawshank Redemption to notice any of this.
I'll give it to him. It's understandable.
You gotta do the shtick if you're the prison guard. So I can't fault him too hard.
Hey, he wasn't trying to do Green Mile, so I mean,
Yes, that is something. That's if you're gonna imitate, at least be Clancy Brown. Don't be that putz. Um, Not Tom Hanks. I mean the douchebag from The Green Mile. You know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
So so right away, watching this movie, I was like, this kind of reminds me of a certain film that came out a couple decades ago now,
A couple
where
decades ago.
it's where it's more focused on like the virulent like disease nature of zombieism.
Okay.
Because there's a huge emphasis on like anytime he touches someone or bodily fluids go flying and they get splattered. It's not like a lot of zombie stuff nowadays where you could massacre your way through a horde and it's like I didn't get bit or scratched, so I'm good.
I
And
will
it's like,
say there's some bits in Outside where I was like, man, you should have gotten infected.
no, it's just from a bite.
I
A
hate
bite is the only way.
I hate that. We'll speak about another franchise later that does that perfectly, but go on.
Yes, well, so it's really good setup. And like a couple of people get splattered here and there. The doctor gets it, and then you're like, oh shit, yeah, it's gonna happen to him. But then it kind of just settles in to what it is. They have the guy we find out was working in like a secret lab, and that's where the zombie outbreak came and everything. So he's able to exposit to us before he fully turns over
That's nice.
that yeah, it's always appreciated that the because it's a newly engineered virus or illness, it'll affect people in different ways. It might take people longer than others to get turned into zombies, and it's like, okay, so that's so people turn when the plot demands it, which lo and behold is how they use it. Yeah, it sucks.
As much as I
And then
don't like the World War Z movie, I did like the bit where like it's so dumb, where like the kid's toy is counting as Brad Pitt's watching a zombie turn, and then he knows how long it takes. I hated how that was done, but I appreciated the fact that they were like, no, we have a set time.
Yeah, listen, if a movie is being direct and letting us know, hey, these are the rules, I appreciate it. I need to revisit World War Z because I remember it being mostly not good.
Yeah, well,
and I'm sure that holds up.
I mean, have you read the book?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's also been years. But I remember the book being fantastic. But yeah, so with Dead Men Walking, once you get to the halfway point, we're basically just at the point of, oh my god, everyone's zombies. How do we get out of the prison? And it's just shooting and chopping and punching and kicking and biting and all that
drinking
stuff.
and fucking and
yeah, it's
sorry,
killing whores and fucking boars. Which
I beg your pardon.
This is not the that's not as much of a segue as I thought it would be. I but I also watched.
Where do we go from here?
No, we'll see. Yeah, from my miscellaneous heard about it online recommendations. I watched Buck Wild from 2013, um, which is about four friends of a um, kind of hangover-esque
Oh
set
no.
of type characters. You know, you've got the weirdo, the main guy, the um, cool guy that just wants to get laid, and the guy who's a little anal retentive and all that. It's the archetypal characters. Um, and they're going on a hunting trip to this guy's reserve that they have scheduled out for months now. Um, and while they're out there, a zombie apocalypse breaks out. I think this one is because the owner of the reserve got bitten by a chupacabra, and they brushed that off very quickly. And I was like, "What the fuck?"
It's like we go back enhance.
Yeah, they meet him as they're on their way, and his daughter, I think it's his daughter or his niece, and she says something about being bitten by chupacabra, and I was like, "What did you just say?"
What did you say
Um,
about Chupacabra?
so so this one is more of a horror comedy. I wouldn't even say horror. Sorry, one sec. Let me yell at my dog. Uh, it's it's I don't know. I was frustrated with it because it it started off like charmingly amateurish, where it was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you did that shot because you thought it looked really cool," and um, like
Yeah.
anytime someone is like riffing and telling their jokes and doing their type of jokes that their character would do, it like cuts and you can tell that there's like an extra 5 or 10 minutes where they were just fucking around. Um, but it kind of just stays at that level the whole time. I think I said in my review that in like the nicest way possible, this feels like a movie made by YouTube comedy channel creators,
Oh yeah.
Um, so, and the zombies just are zombies. There's, um, they they can talk in two scenes for comedic effect.
Oh, I
Uh,
forgot to mention they talk in Outside.
oh, they're just what? They're like full on just crazies.
They don't like speak, but they like repeat
Oh,
like a certain phrase, like one of the last phrases I think they said before they died. So like they go
that's
to like a
cool.
military outpost and they're trying to like figure out how to get through, and then all of a sudden like a military zombie shows up and is like, "Pass, please, pass, please." Which
Incredible.
ties into the plot because then like, there's a fun thing happens with the character.
Okay, okay. Um, yeah, in Buck Wild, it's much more lazy.
Uh,
The first time is because the guy is fucking this girl and she's like turning as that's happening, and so she's like, I guess mostly turned over, and he starts freaking out because it's weird, and then she's like, "No, do me." And
oh
I'm
my
like, "Oh,
god.
God."
Okay.
I was like, this isn't a turn off, but you might have gotten out of it if you had stayed the course.
So they're like more like deadites.
Just for that scene though,
Oh,
and then there's another scene where one of them gets turned of the main crew, and then he ends up eating a full tray of pot brownies, and then he's able to just like communicate like normal for a little bit. And I was like, okay, that's kind
that's
of funny,
that's
but
funny, but
weird. Um, Very convenient as well for the plot, because like the main beef is that the main guy is pretty sure that his fiance fucked the cool guy, and then he gets confirmation, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm a cuck." So the talking session with the friend who's the cool guy is basically just him giving a therapy session, and he's like, "This is what you need to do, man. Like you have no confidence." And it's like, okay, all right, um,
thanks, I
yeah,
guess.
it's like. Yeah, it had potential, but it kind of just fizzled out. It's fine. It's a solid amateur work that could have used a redraft and a re-edit or two.
But like solid.
solid. Like everything's there. Like all the
Yeah.
performances are pretty good. The editing's pretty good. You know, it just needed to be a little bit more refined here and there.
Yeah, it sounds like the tone needed some help.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Or like more refined.
Yeah,
No?
like they have they recreate the scene in Pulp Fiction where
No, just stop.
where Bruce Willis comes to save Marcellus Wallace. Only the guy's not being ass raped. He's stripped down to his boxers and they're riding him like a horse. It's very weird. But they're like playing the same music, the da 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 as the guy comes in and he's like preparing to save him, and then someone sneaks up on him with a gun and he's like, oh. I was like, but they played it out for too long. Like they really let it start to look there, and like you can see the joke coming from a mile away. It's like, man, I appreciate a Tarantino fan, but like you gotta tighten up that pacing a little bit.
The second I heard you say they do a Pulp Fiction reference, I was like, fuck, cut it. Cut his mic.
Yeah.
Get him out of here. Boo. Is that all for the oh, I don't have it up. I'm so sorry.
I might have forgotten to say, but yeah, so Dead Man Walking kind of reminded me of 28 Days Later in a way.
Asylum.
I had the thing open, and so I saw the icon light up, and I was like, did I push that?
Did I do that? I want to talk about one more movie before we talk about the reason why we're watching zombie things. I rewatched the 1990s remake of Night of the Living Dead.
Oh yeah.
Because I watched it for the first time with you guys, and I was like,
right.
"This is really good."
I also watched it for the first time with you guys.
I prefer it over the original in a lot of ways.
Okay.
The fixing of Barbara's character is beautiful. So good.
Oh, I'd have to revisit both.
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember from the original Night of the Living Dead, it was that Barbara was kind of just like catatonic for most of the movie, and just like there, and wasn't much of a character. I don't remember how she dies in the OG, to be honest. If she does at all, she probably gets got by her brother or something. Whereas Barbara in the 1990 Night of the Living Dead is, I don't know the actress's name, and I'm so sorry. I know her as Lita Alexander from Babylon 5. So I will just call her Lita Alexander from Babylon 5. She does a great job because she starts out like OG Barbara, where she's like catatonic, can't speak, like is just in shock of the fact that like her brother just got killed by a zombie and that zombies exist in the first place. But then like as the movie goes on, she like really gets like more like self-reliant and is like, I'm gonna fight back, and like she's really like analytical of the zombies and is actually like, wait a minute, like we could probably walk past these zombies. They're really fucking slow.
Okay.
To the point where she like leaves the group, and I think it's really solid. It's directed by Tom Savini.
Yeah, buddy.
So, you know, those zombies look amazing. Not to mention Tony Todd, rest in peace, plays Ben.
That's right.
And like, you know, as a zombie fan, I've heard the speech of you gotta kill him, you gotta hit him in the head like so many times. But Tony Todd says it with such reverence that it feels like the first time you're hearing it and you're like, ooh.
Any instruction he has to give me, I take it as gospel.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god.
That's the Tony Todd effect.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna cover him up with her. There we go.
So you got to do the side-by-side comparison and do Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and then the Tom Savini Night of the Living Dead, the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead, and then the Zack Snyder Army of the Dead.
Oh god, yeah, Army of the Dead, bro. You know, I have made a new letterbox list of zombie movies to watch in preparation for 28 years later. And I saw Army and I was like, nah.
It's oh man,
It's fine, but it's like I need another like 3 years to rewatch it.
I was gonna say I need to revisit it, but I feel like it's still a few years off. Every now and then I'll scroll past it and I'll be like, no,
Not yet.
no.
Needs a bit more time to cook for me in my brain.
Let me forget it more.
Let me forget it more, yeah. Yes, I highly recommend the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead. I thought about watching it in black and white, like turning my TV saturation down, but it was my husband's first time watching it, so I didn't want to do that. But I'm gonna probably watch it again because I like it a lot, and it's a nice short movie.
Fair.
And I like it too. Like I like how in Night of the Living Dead, the remake, there's and also the original too, like Barbara has a line in this where she's like watching she's in the camp of people who are rounding up the zombies and killing them because she like escapes, and she's watching them like they have a zombie in a pen and they're fucking with it. They have zombies hanging from trees and they're shooting at it for sport. There's like hot dog vendors everywhere and they're drinking beers and they're like shooting their guns in the air. And Barbara's just like, they're us. We're them and they're us. And it's just cool to see a zombie story where it's like, no, the humans that are alive think it's like fun. Like it's like once they've gotten themselves organized, it's like a day at the carnival. And,
Yeah,
and the relishing and killing of people.
Yeah, the George Romero satire that is, stuck within his zombie movies. I'm glad to see it carries over more. It's like a low-key staple of the genre.
Yeah, it's so good. But this all brings us to a trailer that came out 28 years later. It's happening. We're finally doing it. The movie's finally coming out. Like it's done. They filmed it. We're getting 3 of these bad boys.
Oh my god.
I am so utterly excited. And judging from the trailer, I think we can confirm that I think it's going to be a continuous story from all 3. It's just the first one's being directed by Danny Boyle, but they're all being written by Alex Garland.
Yeah, it's nice to have some consistency there. Do we have release dates for all 3 or just the first one?
I think just the first. I am like fairly certain that like 2 is like maybe done filming. And 3 might be entering like production.
Okay.
Let's see, the Bone Temple. Here. Sequel. The Bone Temple. Let's see. Okay, I confirmed that. Let's see. Aaron Taylor Johnson and Cillian Murphy are according to Wikipedia, confirmed for the second movie.
Oh, yeah.
They finished filming in September of this year.
Nice.
Or they. I didn't say when they're finished. But Cillian Murphy was spotted in September on the set.
Oh, okay.
So they're probably done because they began in August. They might be hopefully done by now.
Yeah, hopefully.
Which is good. Nia DaCosta's doing the second one. I've only seen one film she did, Candyman, and that was well directed.
Was that the new one?
Yeah.
Or okay.
She did The Marvels, which no one saw, so I can't really comment. I am, though, watching through Miss Marvel in preparation for watching The Marvels.
Oh.
Mainly so I can, like, critique her work. It's all in preparation for 28 years later.
See, it's so tough because I tend to give directors a pass with their MCU movie because I'm like, okay, this is where you got the paycheck.
Yes.
So I don't hold this against you when it comes to your other work. So,
Yeah, I'll have to watch her other stuff. She apparently did a 2018 crime drama that has Tessa Thompson and Lance Reddick, so I'll have to watch that.
Okay.
Yeah, Candyman. I felt like it was really well directed. It looked good. I thought that the writing was okay, but if it's her directing and Alex Garland writing, I think I can trust it.
Okay.
But yeah, the trailer came out for 28 years later, and I just say, this is one of the best trailers ever. No hyperbole.
Yeah.
I actually felt real dread watching it. Like actual, like, oh my fucking god, like something's chasing me.
I would agree, and I would also say, it leaves you with that feeling that you want trailers to leave you with, which is, what the fuck happens there?
Yes, the bit where they show, like, the bone temple. I'm assuming is what it is with Ralph Fiennes.
I assume.
And then and the poem's going like, try to think of something different, and he's screaming, and Ralph Fiennes like covered in blood and dirt and crying, walking towards this thing in like utter like horror. And then the shot of them like running through the water, and then the zombies behind them, and it's like huge.
Yeah,
I've watched this trailer so many fucking times. It's so good. I'm like picking every moment out, and I'm like, what's this? What does this mean? Why is it here? Oh, my cat saw me. Hello, Butterbean.
Yeah, so I desperately need to rewatch 28 Days and Weeks because I remember Cillian Murphy is in them and that the zombies run, and that's about it. So,
I rewatch Days pretty often. That's one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
So that's pretty in my head. Weeks, the opening's in my head because it's Robert Carlyle and the opening's really good. I don't remember much past that because the opening, everyone like retweets it every like few months. They're like, "Oh my god, the opening of this movie is so crazy," and it is because it's Robert Carlyle acting his ass off against zombies, and it's got the score going apeshit.
Yeah.
I am sad, I guess, haha, the joke. What happened to 28 months later? God, you're so funny. You should feel so good that you already typed your comment and sent it. Don't delete it. No, keep it there. Don't go back now.
No, you're
so funny.
The third film, they'll specify that it happens 28 months after the first 28 years.
So there you go.
It's like, we've come full circle.
I know that this film, that 28 months later, was in development hell for over a decade. Yeah. And that they had multiple scripts written or something. Like, they kept trying to make it, but, like, it just didn't happen.
It'd be interesting, but I'm glad that they were like, okay, we are literally closer to it being 28 years later than 28 months, so let's just jump to there. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, It is intriguing to see. There's very few of these from what I know, but like post-apocalyptic movies that are deliberately period pieces, where it's like, oh yeah, it came and went, and it's like, what? But this movie is set like 5 years ago, and it's like, yeah, oh god. So
it is funny because like technically the zombie outbreak happened in the early 2000s, so everything is still stuck. Like,
yep.
Like the trailer opens and there's like the CRT TV with the DVD drive in it, and there's like the winding CD tower.
Yeah,
it's so good. Of course, I mean, we have to kind of talk about the fact that it is shot on an iPhone. Granted, an iPhone with like 1,000 attachments to it.
Really?
Yeah, shot on an iPhone.
Wild.
I know. It looks amazing though.
Yeah.
For what it is.
I would have no idea.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, if you don't know, you don't even think about it, but once you do know, you're like, yeah, I could tell. I've seen that a lot where I was like, yeah, I could tell it's on a night. And then, no, you couldn't. Shut the fuck up. Stop trying to be different. I understand.
Oh, yeah? I lied to you. How do you feel now? You still feel it? Oh, okay.
You fuck. I will say, like, when I first watched the trailer, I watched it on my TV because I'm not a plebeian, and I was like, why is the aspect ratio like so thin? And then I watched it, and I had it on my phone because I just like liked. I really enjoyed like watching it, so I just wanted to give it more views, and I wanted to listen to it again and maybe glean some more information. So I put it on my phone, and I was like, God, like the aspect ratio makes it look like there's a tiny screen in the middle of my screen. So YouTube has the option where you can like blow up the image to fit the screen better.
Sure.
And then when I did that, it perfectly the black bars on top and the bottom were not very big at all. And I had this awful sickening thought where I was like, are they making this to be more playable on a phone? And I got like really sad. So yeah, the trailer also uses Boots. It's a poem by Rudyard Kipling about like being in a war and just having to constantly move or you'll die, and like just the constant moving or else like you'll get caught under, essentially. And it's a 1915 recording.
God.
Yeah, it's crazy. It elicited such dread, and it's been stuck on my fucking skull.
Yeah, it's definitely like it just feels unsettling, and I'm sure there's a lot of audio manipulation with that, but I don't. That just feels like it would be. It's like listening to Oppenheimer speeches, where it's like, oh my god. But just listening to old recordings of people discussing morbid things, just like, ugh, it's an easy win.
I found out that apparently like they use this recording of this poem for like Navy SEAL training. Like they stick you in a sensory deprivation tank and play this poem on a loop.
Oh, well, I mean, hey,
to like test your mental fortitude.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, glad I'm not a Navy SEAL.
I'm just happy Aaron Taylor Johnson gets to be in a good movie for once.
It's been it's been a while. Although who knows? Perhaps Kraven the Hunter will be good.
Yeah, sorry, I saw Flow instead.
Damn.
I know. I'm tempted. It depends on the show times.
You seemed pretty certain last time we discussed Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, it was for the bit. Now it's real.
Oh, okay. I understand.
Well,
you still haven't seen Madam Web, so
I'm behind.
Let's see.
I was spoiled on a moment in Kraven the Hunter.
Oh yeah?
Where apparently like he like puts Null on his hunting list.
Oh.
I'm like, that sounds awesome.
Oh God, get ready.
That sounds really good.
Coming.
Yeah, fuck, dude. Well, I'm in full zombie mode. Gimme.
Yeah.
I have more to watch. I have a whole list. It's bad. That's all I can think about is zombies now.
My God. And
I was already playing. I got back into 7 Days to Die before the trailer dropped, like just out of like random happenstance. Which is which is my comfort crafting game.
Right.
Which is all about zombies. And then this trailer happened, and I'm like, wow, it's all coming together.
Time to spend more time with this.
Yeah, trying to play Boots over and over again while I build my base in 7 days.
Exactly. There you go.
Fuck, but you've seen some movies.
I have.
There's a lot, man. You were busy on the 11th.
There was
and the 13th. My God,
there was some stuff going on.
My man.
Yeah, the 11th's my day. Let's see. What order do I want to do this in? Okay. Yeah. So from my 1001 movies to see before you die, I watched I Am a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, which is, I don't know if it's the first overall, but on my list and in my own experience, it's the earliest prison drama type of movie where it's really showing you. That one's giving you the Shawshank, where it's like, hey, it's really shitty being in a fucking chain gang. And it's like, oh God, you're right.
I hate
And
this.
it is this very harrowing story because it's about a soldier who comes home from the war, and he's like, I can't just be in an office job. Like getting right back into a highly regimented routine is gonna destroy my mental health. So he's like, I really just want to work on like manual labor somewhere where like I don't have to think my thoughts from my PTSD.
We've all been there,
Like,
really.
yeah, for sure. And I'm like, okay, I get this. Um, and but there's no room anywhere for unskilled labor. There's people all over the place that are willing to do menial work. And he's like, well, fuck. And he gets down on his luck and in his finances and everything. And then one day he's just eating lunch at a diner, and a friend of his comes in, and he's like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, what's going on? And his friend's like, oh, I'm robbing this place. And so he's got guns up, and he it's kind of funny. He forces him at gunpoint to also take people hostage. And then the police show up and immediately take his friend down, and he tries to run away, and they catch him, and they, of course, assume that he's just in on it. Um, and it's really weird because I know it's called I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, but I was surprised at how short lived the time at the prison was, just because they established it so well and the atmosphere was so good. Um, but he gets out and he builds a new life somewhere else. We're going Les Mis now, and he's Jean Valjean. Except I can tolerate it. And
Ha
um,
ha ha.
eh, um, and yeah, he becomes like a fucking huge success in this town and like widely respected and all this stuff. And then they find out that he is in fact an escaped convict, and he, because of his position, like, it gets a lot of publicity, and he's like, no, you don't understand. Like, I will mentally break if I go back to a chain gang. And so there's like courtroom drama where his brother's like a priest, and he's like, please God, don't do this, don't send him back. And just this arguing back and forth of like, this, like, look at all the good this guy's done, like him being in prison is wasted. And then the prison officials are like, no, it's because he was in the chain gang. It built his character. That's like, we should send him back. Who knows what it'll come out as then? It's like,
No,
oh,
that's not the lesson.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, it's rough. Um, but yeah, it's damn good. It is exceptionally well paced, well performed. There is a fucking high speed car chase, which I was not expecting from a 30s movie. But it was very cool to see, and it was actually very convincing. So, yeah, good movie. High recommend.
This is like
Um,
the first movie from your like list of old movies that you're like, fuck yeah, watch this one.
Believe me, I know it's been a rough run. Hopefully, many more to come.
It's crazy that your first one that you're positive is the I Am a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, which is like the worst title so far, I think.
I know, right? I was like, oh boy, here's another throwaway one. I was like, but maybe it's because my expectations were low, but I don't think so. I think
No, can't be that.
um, but a more unique experience.
I'm trying to find a good one for the thumbnail on this one, man. I've been here for like 2 minutes.
Oh,
Like,
really? It's brand spanking. Oh, wait, for Fugitive? Or
no.
Oh, you're prepping?
Uh huh.
Oh shit. Well, I'm sorry.
Well, there's a certain character I want to have on the thumbnail really bad.
That's fair. Um, but I watched Destroy All Neighbors, which I believe was a Shudder original from this year. This is from watching the movie trailers and picking out ones that I hadn't seen.
Yeah, all I could see was Shutter.
Oh, well, it's a great one. Um,
Not in a bad way. I mean, oh, that's right, because I can't watch Shutter. Haha, that's right. I forgot that they cucked me.
yeah, they got you.
I forgot for a moment. I was in beautiful ignorance.
I know that's why I was like, oh, that probably isn't the best thing to see.
Fuck me.
But no, I had a very interesting experience with this movie because so when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, this is deliberately kind of lowbrow, schlocky, kind of Evil Dead 2-esque horror comedy. Like, I'm ready for it. Um, on the day I watched it after I had already watched Buck Wild, so I was already kind of meh on horror comedy at that point. Um, and the movie starts, and the style kind of puts me off a little bit, and like the setup of the characters where it's like, okay, our main guy is this like um kind of beta male, like low on himself and unconfident, and like everyone disparages him, and he's like, I just want to make my prog rock album, please. And he's got this fucking ridiculous, over the top, goofy neighbor that is like fucking with him. And I was like, I'm not ready for this to turn into Evil Dead 2. I don't like this at all. This is gonna be rough. And then, like, it turns around at a point, um, where so basically he gets this new neighbor who looks and sounds like what's the best? He's like a Slovakian Bombor from The Hobbit. Um, and he's like blasting music at all hours of the day and like wearing him down mentally. And the main guy ends up calling the cops on him, and then they come over, and he's perfectly like jovial and nice, and like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry about this, and immediately gets back to doing it when they're gone. And so the main guy goes to confront him, and he he like, it's so weird. But his neighbor is like, oh, it's a shame you're such a little bitch and you went to the cops. We could have handled this like men, bro. And he's like getting up in his face and like goading him into fighting him, and the scene goes on for so long, and
And it's
his
also
neighbor like,
Alex Winter, by the way. Did you know that?
I did not. Who is
He's not Keanu Reeves from Bill and Ted.
Oh, okay. That does make a lot of sense. That's crazy.
I just
Okay,
broke your brain.
that did. Man, and the
Everything's different
brownie.
now. Oh, that's
God.
right.
So, but yeah, there's this moment where he grabs the main guy's hand and puts it on his chest. He's like, go ahead, throw me against the wall. And he like shoves himself back first against the wall, and he's like, I'll do it again. And he's like doing shit like that, where he is like wanting him to attack him. And then I think somehow accidentally he ends up getting stabbed and decapitated. But then, like, as the guy is freaking out about what to do, he just like starts talking to him again, and he's like, I'll be living in your head rent free, bro. And it's like, oh god. And like at that point, like when that bit started, I was still in that mode, and it just went on for so long that eventually I was like, okay, this is pretty funny. It won me over. And I haven't had that kind of experience from a movie in a long time. Like, I normally my first impression is either spot on, or it takes a while for me to land on either side. But to
Yeah.
start out kind of and then get flipped was wonderful. And the whole thing is just him continually, accidentally or deliberately, killing his neighbors, and then he realizes, like, the only way I'm going to be satisfied in life is if I actually make my prog rock album that I've been working on for years. And like all of them end up like helping him and being like bros with him and like cheering him on and everything. And I'm like, this is so, like, this should be so dumb and like and not enjoyable, but it's just so charming. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, another first from this list of trailer wins, where I would say I would highly recommend Destroy All Neighbors.
That's awesome, man. That sounds great. Can I be a party pooper?
Please.
So I was grabbing the image for the thumbnail,
Yeah.
and I was like, cool, okay. Like, this guy looks fucked up, and I realized now it's Alex Winter, and that's awesome. But in the background of the screen cap I grabbed, I was like, what is this band? And I'm like, the poster looks AI. So I'm on Twitter and I found a scene from the movie that has that poster in it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at other posters in the room of the band, and I'm like, this looks AI generated.
I could see that because there is like a moment. I mean, I guess it happens a lot in the movie where it's like, this feels cheap in a not great way, not in like a terrible way, but in like I knew if you had more resources, you could make that shot look better. So that's not overly surprising to me.
Yeah. I'm just like, it looks interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. I googled, no one said anything about it, but also no one might know what it is.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I hope, as long as they didn't AI generate his music, which I assume they wouldn't, because apparently the main guy is actually like a musician. Because I was looking at trivia, and apparently when they were scripting it, originally they were like, I think they had cast him, but they still weren't fully done with it. It was kind of weird. But they envisioned him being a cartoonist, and his whole like character arc is, okay, I have to make this comic or something.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, this guy's like a really talented musician. Why don't we just make it music? And then the director was like, okay, I have to choose a genre where no matter how good you are, no one gives a shit about it. So it was like, prog rock.
That's
like,
fucking funny, actually.
So, yeah.
It looks good. Yeah, I'll have to. I mean, I'm a little sus, but it looks interesting and looks like a fun time.
Yeah. Take a look into it. I know they mixed. They've got a mix of very nice practical effects and some CG ones. So it's it at least wasn't wholly half-assed on.
That's good. That's good. Again, there's no evidence. There's just the smell test.
Yeah, there's just your spidey sense going off.
It is going off. It's tingling, bro. I got on the hunt. I'm like a fucking bloodhound. I was like, man, I can't hate. But yeah, no, yes. He looks great. The prosthetics looks fucking amazing. I can barely tell it's him under there.
Yeah, no, I had no idea. Again, he just looks like fucking Bulgarian Bombor, so yeah, he's great.
And you rewatched some movies too, or should we save that for later? No, we can do it now.
Do you have more watch talk, or is that it?
That's it.
Okay, all right.
Did a lot of gaming. We'll talk about that in a bit.
That's fair. Well, real quickly, I watched Jack Black's Dear Santa. That was shit.
Anyway.
Recommendation from my mother-in-law, so it is what it is.
Oh, you were recommended Dear Santa?
I was.
That's funny.
Yeah. But on a happier note, as my pre-preparation for watching through the MCU again, I'm watching all the pre-MCU superhero movies to get a sense of the before time. So last week I rewatched Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, which it had been a good 5 years or so since I had seen it, I'd say. I was also going to watch the Andrew Garfield ones, but I was like, I'll do it another day. I want to enjoy today.
You want to just focus on Sam Raimi?
Yes. Yeah, because, and it also is weirdly, like, semi during them, different thing, whole different beast. But I was, of course, blown away with how good they still are.
And forever will be.
And forever will be. I miss when superhero comic book movies were about comic book superheroes, where it's like, what's the majority of the movie going on in Spider-Man? He's saving people. He's going out, he's stopping robbers, he's saving people from fires, he's being a hero. And he's gaying it up in his little tights because he doesn't want anyone to know who he is. It's perfect. And then, it ended up making me think of MCU movies where they're all basically just like spy thrillers where it's like, yeah, my superhero suit is just my uniform, and it's like, oh, okay, I gotta go stop this bad guy by punching him,
Yeah,
and it's like,
and that
oh.
was cool, like at first.
Yeah, no, that was, that was very, very cool.
Like when Winter Soldier did that, it was like, oh fuck yeah.
Oh yeah,
You're
absolutely.
like, this is
When
so cool and different and interesting and unique, and then everyone was like, but what if we're all like that?
What if we all have Iron Man suits? What if we all have nanotech? It's like, oh. What if every single time we need to utter a syllable of dialogue, we have to take off our mask because everyone already knows who we are? And it's like, oh, fuck. Um,
And you will beg for death before the end.
um, I do think that I was more I was much more disappointed in Spider-Man 3 this time around. I think
After
because
seeing
for the
how good
longest
Venom 3
time,
was.
I need to see it. Um, I think because for me, I feel like I've always been in the minority here, where I actually liked the first Spider-Man movie more than the second. Everyone is always like, "Oh, Spider-Man 2 is so good, it's so much better," and I like the first one more. Um, but on this more recent watch through, I in fact did like Spider-Man 2 more, and I had more of an appreciation for the story and like the just the underlying things that it builds up from the first movie, where I'm like, this is a very good sequel. It's just a very solid follow-up. It is the natural next chapter for all of these characters. um and so like when you're in that mindset, when you get to Spider-Man 3, like I, obviously I already knew the movie because I've seen it a bunch of times, but I was like, man, in another world where Sam Raimi wasn't forced to put Venom in, this would have been Harry's fucking movie, man.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, totally.
that build up from the first two, like that fall from grace with him and Peter is so good, and it's like Shakespearean, where it's like, oh, man, and then in 3 they take him out immediately. He forgets for half the movie. He comes back and barely does anything before getting incapacitated again. And it's like, instead we're too busy with Sandman, who's also really good.
Yeah, but
And
it's like in a movie with so much happening.
it is, and the movie very much just happens around him. Like they kind of just forget about him too after a little bit because there's so much juggling that Raimi has to do.
It's like there's
Um,
a Sandman episode stuck in the movie.
exactly, exactly. And you can tell that he likes him because in the comics, out of all the Spider-Man villains, Sandman is the most like, I'm just a thug that got the power of sand. Like my
Yeah.
motivation is I want to rob banks. And then Sam Raimi's like, no, let me give him this tragic backstory, and he's like, he's really remorseful of everything he's done, and it's like, oh my god. And this was one of the early days where someone super bulked up for a role, so seeing Thomas Hayden Church gain like 100 pounds of muscle was terrifying. Um,
Yeah, and he's so good and he looks
he's so
amazing.
good. He's picture perfect.
It's one of those
Uh,
characters where it's like, oh, you're just Sandman.
yeah, I was like, holy shit, I can't believe you found Sandman.
That's weird how he just
Um,
existed somewhere.
Yeah. And then this is, on the other side of this, we have Eddie fucking Brock, who's this fucking doofus Topher Grace. When in the comics, he's like this near Olympian level, like super insider reporter, a very intelligent guy. And here he's just this fucking goof that nobody likes, and like he's completely ineffectual. And it's like, oh god, like yeah, I feel it. I know that you hate that this character's in the movie, Sam Raimi. Um, it's just it's very unfortunate. I still like it because it's it's Sam Raimi, and there is still that Spider-Man heart there. I was like, man, if he had been able to do what he wanted with this movie, and then Spider-Man 4 had to be fucking Venom and the Lizard and all that bullshit. What a world we'd be in.
I think world hunger would be solved.
I think so. I think so as well. I think Sam Raimi would have been given the MCU from the get-go.
Yeah. Society, if we got Bruce Campbell Mysterio in number 4.
It was me all along!
He named him. It's amazing.
I have built you up in your origins, and I have cucked you at your lowest point.
I'm the ultimate villain. It was me. It was me, Peter.
Incredible.
Oddly enough, I'll talk about it more. I mentioned it earlier, how I'm watching, I decided to start watching Miss Marvel. I on the whole, avoided the MCU Disney Plus shows, for obvious reasons. But I decided to pick up Miss Marvel because I've heard that, like, she's the best out of, like, a lot of them. That, like, the casting was on point. That she just is Miss Marvel.
Okay.
And apparently the actress is a really huge comic dork who, like, will correct things on set and will, like, deliver comics to Kevin Feige to be like, no, this is wrong. So kind of on that, I was like, I should, and I wanted to watch the Marvels because Nia DaCosta's doing 28 years later too. So I was like, fuck it, it's in the cards anyway. And I watched the first 2 out of 6 episodes, which it's one of those.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of just a long movie, technically.
Yes.
But I'm 2 episodes in, and at first it was a bit like, I don't know. But the style won me over. It really utilizes, like, a lot of interesting, like, editing techniques, and, like, the characters are like they're like biking through the city, and in one take as they're biking and we have them in the foreground, the background has, like, on the buildings and stuff is like the animations of what they're talking about. And they're talking about, like, what outfits to wear and like to some convention, and, like, they should do this kind of a mashup. And as they're talking about the ideas, that on the buildings behind them, it's, like, being animated as they're, like, riding their bikes past them. Or they'll, like, be walking and texting, and instead of it being like a little, like, blip pop up, it's like neon signs become emojis, and, like, the little, like, LED signs that, like, go through, like, boarding now, but it'll say, like, hey, what's up? And it's like, so, like, the environment's reflecting what they're texting.
Interesting.
And I'm like, there's, like, a style here, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I didn't expect this out of the 8th out of 17 Disney Plus shows that, like, someone was giving a shit.
You finally found the one where Disney was like, no one gives a shit about this one. Do whatever you want. And they're like,
yay! The producer didn't show up to set for 3 months.
I love when they accidentally let artists be artists.
It does feel that way, man. It feels like they, like, people and like that were doing it were like, fuck yeah, no one's watching us. And it's really good so far. It's really fucking solid. It's it's about like a Pakistani superhero, and it's cool to see the culture, and it's cool, and, like, it's seeing, like, her, like, struggle with, like, her culture and her family while also discovering that she's a superhero. It's solid, and also there's a bit I loved in, I think, episode 2, where, like, she's like, okay, I have the powers, where it felt like Spider-Man, where, like, her and her friend were, like, testing what she's capable of, and, like, they're jumping on, like, and they're, like, in, like, alleys and rooftops, like, trying to figure out, like, how to do things. There's the figuring out process that I feel like most superhero films nowadays don't bother with.
Yeah.
And I felt like at home. I was like, I feel like I'm watching Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, where he's like, oh, my back.
Go, web, go.
Go, web, go. Fly, web. It felt like that, where she was like, all right, what are the limits here?
That's good. That does. I really want to rewatch Shazam, because I remember that feeling also being very present.
Yeah, where it was like, oh, hey, what can we do? What's the limits of our power? Let's actually test it out.
Yeah,
it was so nice. I was like, so I'm 2 episodes into Miss Marvel. I didn't think I'd be digging it as much as I am. Yeah, I fuck with it.
Well, good. I'm glad that it is not just drawn out homework before you review.
Fuck.
The Marvels.
I know. I was gonna jump into. I mean, we are in the comic section. Before I jump into what I've been reading, I want to have a back and forth with you so I can take a break from talking. Okay. So you heard the announcement of the Clayface movie?
I did.
That's right, Clayface, everybody, it's happening at DC. So for some reason, when I first read the report, it was saying that it was going to be in the Matt Reeves universe that has been amended by James Gunn himself. He doesn't know where that report came from, but it's going to be in the main DC universe.
It's so weird. I feel maybe because I just don't follow the news of other stuff, but I feel like weird fake reports are cropping up so much more around DC than other stuff.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
I think it's because James Gunn isn't on Twitter. He's just on Threads. So, like, people just say shit on Twitter and it goes unchecked.
That is fair.
And then it gets to him on Threads.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like, what?
Yeah, because it's always James Gunn shoots down this rumor. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, but it has to make it to him on Threads first.
Yeah. It's a process.
So there's like a day where it's on Twitter going crazy, then someone decides, wait a minute, we should make sure. But yeah, Mike Flanagan went to DC with the pitch, wrote the script, and they're greenlighting it. But he's not directing the movie.
Have they attached a director to it yet?
No.
Okay.
Where is this? What's happening here? No director yet. What's that?
Maybe it'll be his wife.
Yeah, I mean, she apparently did good in VHS Beyond.
It was, to my memory, the best part.
There we go.
Huh?
Yeah, I think it's because he's too busy doing Exorcist and the Carrie show.
Yeah.
That apparently he can't direct Clayface. But he wrote it.
Yeah, we're getting an old-fashioned way of movie happening where someone comes to the people with the money and says, "Hey, I have an idea," rather than the people with the money tapping an artist and saying, "Hey, our focus group's like this, write it."
This is kind of what I wanted to discuss with you, because some people on the internet, I know, big mistake first of all to even like bring them into mention. Sure. We're saying like James doesn't know how to run the DC universe. What's with all these random stories being told before? Like, we have to lay our groundwork with our big heroes first. And it's like, well, first of all, you don't own anything and have done nothing of worth, so maybe shut up. Second of all, we already have done that, and it didn't work out very well both times. So I think what you said, like, this is the way it should be done, is, hey, we own all these characters and properties. Do you have an idea? Come to us because you're passionate and you want to see it done. We will review it, and if we like it, we will hire you. This is the way it should be done.
Absolutely. But they're also missing the part where they are also doing that, because the first movie is going to be fucking Superman. Yeah. And then the second movie is going to be fucking Supergirl. So, like, they did the same thing. They did the MCU Comic-Con. Here's my timeline of movie characters that are going to get movies,
But
just
hey,
pay a fucking pension,
yeah. And bruv. So, like, but then we can also have time to be like, hey, we'll also do a Clayface movie, because why not? Because a passionate, renowned writer-director came to us and said, hey, guys, let me make you a lot of money.
Yeah, these people that are wanting to give James Gunn advice are saying, why did you take the script from Mike Flanagan? Shouldn't you wait until that fits on your business model? It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's like, no, bro, Mike Flanagan just gave me a script. I think I'm going to make it.
Yeah, he's telling me he wants me to make it, and he's not shopping it around to studios. Fuck yeah.
Like, Mike could easily, like, you know, change the lore, change the character name, change the mechanics, and then give it to, like, anyone else. But he's like, no, here,
Absolutely.
give me some money for my Carrie show. Or something.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a gift.
It's very silly that people think they know how to run a cinematic comic book universe better than the people who have experience and are doing it.
Yeah, like listen, we've obviously seen them crash and burn, as is the case with the DCEU and the Dark Universe and stuff like that. But why don't well, let's wait until things actually get bad. We haven't even seen the first movie yet.
That is so true, King. I kind of makes me want to talk about my next topic. Actually, is waiting to actually see the thing before you hate it.
Yes, for sure.
So I have a couple things I want to talk about. So the Game Awards happened. Some interesting developments from the Game Awards. Some stuff won that I caught about half of it. So I didn't catch the whole array of the Game Awards, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I caught like the second half, I believe, and I caught obviously the winner of the Game of the Year. So the DLC did not win.
Okay.
Thank God. Astrobot won Game of the Year. Hooray for Astrobot. I'm happy that all 5 people who own a PS5 enjoyed it. Bowser should have won. But and you know, the Game Awards are fun, right? It's like it's nice to be recognized. It's nice to you know, show off our industry. It's nice for people to be recognized, especially like this one where it had like a lot of unique developers there. Like, I mean, the fact that the Balatro dev got nominated and won awards is insane, because like he's just a dude who made a fun game. And now he was at the Game Awards, and I think he won 3 awards: Best Debut, Best Indie, and Best Mobile.
Oh, wow.
He should have also won Game of the Year, but that's okay. And it's a way to also, it's sort of like it semi replaces E3 as the announcing awards, like show of the announcing games part of the year, since E3 died. So what we're going to talk about is the announcements. Congrats to everybody who won, obviously, but we're going to talk about the future. The future's now, old man. So some games were announced, and some of these games are pretty cool. Some of these games look pretty interesting. So they announced like a Borderlands 4. Sure, whatever.
Immediately after the movie started tanking, they're like, oh.
But a Dying Light DLC or sequel. I don't know. I don't play Dying Light. Sorry. During the Game Awards, a new faction invaded in Helldivers 2. They're like a bit zombie, a bit War of the Worldsy.
Okay.
Looks fun. When I hook up my new computer, I'll eventually play it.
There you go.
They announced a 4th Mafia game, but it's like a prequel set in 1912 Sicily. So it was nice to see a trailer where everybody looked like me to some degree.
Oh, yeah.
Though they called the main character Ezio, and I was like, hey, we can make the Ezio and Mario are not the only 2 names to name our Italian video game protagonists. We can choose anything else.
Oni?
Fuck. They announced Slay the Spire 2, a bunch of Outer Worlds 2, but the really important, there's a lot more important stuff. There's new stuff too. A new Onimusha game got announced. Check out my playthrough of the first Onimusha on Jocelyn Possum. New Ninja Gaiden. It looks like I must have missed that. It must have been earlier in the show. A new Turok game. That's pretty funny. Remember Turok?
I don't think I ever knew Turok.
Oh, it's a dinosaur killing game.
Oh. No, I know.
I forget what it was big on. I played it a bit as a kid. N64,
Oh,
I think. Yeah, N64.
oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I think they did one for the 360. It was just called Turok. Yeah, we had to rebrand it. But now we're doing it again.
Perfect.
But they announced, do you want to do the funny one or the stupid rage-inducing ones?
I don't know which is which.
That's a good point. You know what? Actually, I forgot to mention Elden Ring.
Oh yeah.
That's right. There's a new Elden Ring game. It's apparently like a co-op.
Yeah, it's like a spin-off, like a ODST-esque kind of.
It's like an ODST. It's like a Persona 5 Brawlers or whatever. It's like Ultima Savage Lands. It's like, hey, we're just using the same engine and assets, but we're making like a different fun game with it. It's apparently gonna be like a co-op, procedurally generated, like a bunch of like it's gonna be like a fun arcadey Elden Ring with like Dark Souls stuff in it.
It's from one of the younger devs on the FromSoft team, so I appreciate Miyazaki and them giving them the chance to be in the spotlight. We'll see how they do. It looked fun from what I saw.
Apparently has battle royale elements, like a shrinking area.
Oh.
So it looks like they're kind of trying to hit a different market, which I appreciate.
Yeah, because I feel like the one thing that gets pretty consistently criticized about FromSoft games is the terrible PvP and co-op. So the fact that they're taking a game to focus on those assets, I'm like, okay, let's see what you do when you try.
Yeah,
you know?
like use this spin-off to really hone in on it.
Yeah.
Apparently, you can I saw this earlier. You can only play as either single player or in teams of 3. So FromSoft said only polycules will be allowed to play. It's just you and your significant other, I'm sorry, you should have thought about that earlier.
Hope you have a mutual friend.
Yeah, hope you have 2 friends to play with. That's a lot to ask out of people, okay?
Damn.
You, me, and Joe will be fine, but there's some other people that are gonna be sad.
Not everyone's got a built-in thruple. It's
exactly. Elden Rings for thruples now. Sorry, guys. So that's fun, but let's talk about the silly one. Let's ease in.
Okay.
So they announced a game. Did you at least watch the trailer for this one?
I watched all 3.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know I sent you homework and I was like, he's not gonna watch any of these.
I will be honest, when I first saw that you sent 3, I was like, no. And then, I was like, okay, I have time.
But then I stopped at 3 because I'm a nice person.
You did. If it had hit 5, I probably would have stayed on no.
Yeah, but the fact that it was like doable, and then you open the Witcher one and you're like, fuck, it's 6 minutes? Well, he didn't send 5, so I guess it's okay.
That was yeah, I think that was the last one that I watched, so that was when I was like, oh fuck.
So they announced, so Game of Thrones, the Kingsroad or whatever, is a very bewildering game to me. Because I'm gonna move Clayface. This guy's been bothering me. Here, close off that. Jesus, I have to kind of rearrange. Everyone's too big.
You gotta fuck off, Alan Tudyk.
Where would I put out? Oh, because he's Clayface. Yes. You could get him to do Clayface too. Fuck it. Like you're gonna do Dr. Phosphorus in live action before he turns into Dr. Phosphorus. Come on.
I mean, he's officially announced as Clayface, and I think he's showing up in Creature Commandos. So.
Oh shit! Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. So James said, I want my goddamn Alan Tudyk Clayface movie. Make it happen.
And so did Mike Flanagan.
Exactly. He heard that news first, and then he was like,
"Oh, I love Alan Tudyk."
Yeah.
So Game of Thrones Kingsroad looks to be a action adventure RPG, much in the same vein as the other Game of Thrones game that Joe and I played on Jocelyn Possum, but we couldn't get very far because it was burning my computer alive.
The was that the Telltale game?
No, it was before the Telltale one.
Oh my!
I'm tempted to keep it going, but you essentially apparently it was first revealed in 2022. I think I remember that actually very distantly. That actually now sounds a little bit familiar. But it is, it's an RPG by the devs who did the Lineage games. They're Korean devs, Netmarble. Lineage, oh god, this is a lot of stuff that I don't know. Star Wars Force Arena, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no, a lot of not compelling titles.
What year was that Star Wars game?
2017.
Yeah, not good.
Christ. A lot of Marvel mobile games. Big McYikes.
Which isn't this a mobile game?
No, this looks like it's going to be an actual game.
Oh, really? I thought it was a mobile.
No disrespect to mobile gamers. You have it hard. I understand.
But that doesn't mean you deserve more.
Doesn't mean that, no. Apparently it was supposed to be an MMO at some point. Now it's just a single player story game, but it looks to me from the review trailer that it's, hey, you get to play our OC during season 5 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
which is the most uncompelling thing.
Yeah, this feels like what is it called? This feels like Shadow of War, but if they made it an interquel with Lord of the Rings, where it's like, I know this is unimportant. Like, I don't want this interquel shit of this random character within the main story. You realize people didn't like the end of Game of Thrones, right?
Yes. Apparently it was supposed to be a mobile MMO when it was first announced, so maybe it's still a mobile game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, set around seasons 4 and 5, so I was on the money.
God.
I was able to accurately calculate. Yeah, and like the gimmick is like, hey, here's actors from the show. That's cool. But again, like, it's okay, so listen. They did this with Lord of the Rings back in the day. And that was different because those 3 movies were perfect. Game of Thrones is unfortunately not perfect.
Correct.
And it's not distant enough from each other. Like, you can say, oh, I love Lord of the Rings, but it's distant enough from The Hobbit to where you're okay. Whereas Game of Thrones is one complete thing, and because the latter half is so awful, it does taint everything.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, it really hit me watching the trailer, because now I know there's like other Game of Thrones spin-offs and prequels and things going on, but watching the trailer, it really kind of hit me, where it's like, what is the point of this? Because, like, I know people don't talk about it because the show ruined everyone's enjoyment, but reading the Game of Thrones books, and if the series ever gets concluded in written form, the whole point is that it's this deconstruction of fantasy, and it's showing, it's like kind of, I guess not condemning, but deconstructing, like all of the violence and adventuring and morals and backstabbing, all of that. Like it's deconstructing the convention of fantasy. So why are you making more and more shit that is just indulging in the context of fantasy? It's very odd to me.
It is, because that is essentially what George wanted. It's like it takes a more serious and more logical approach to and darker approach to fantasy than typically seen.
Mm-hmm.
And but then you set it in like a fun action game, and it's like it doesn't quite hold to the smell test unless you're doing it like The Witcher, where it's like, hey, shit sucks.
I don't think they are though.
No,
Like
it looks like they're like, hey, look, it's like the show.
that crow looks goddamn jolly. And let me tell you
Yeah.
something. I don't think there's a game mechanic for when his toes freeze off and now you have to walk different. You know?
Yeah, it's either you do Witcher, where it's like it continues the deconstruction aspect, like because and as you know, the Witcher books started as deconstructions of fairy tales and then quit to focus on politics.
Yeah.
Whereas the games picked up that deconstruction aspect and kept it alive, which is the more interesting parts of The Witcher for me when I was reading the books. So do that, or this should be like a Red Dead Redemption 2 like life sim, where like you see the horse's balls in real time like animate, and it shits accurately, and you have to like dress differently because of the weather, and like the hunt, you have to hunt for food, and the skinning of the deer takes like 10 minutes in game time, you know?
Yeah.
And have a compelling story. But this looks like, hey, you get to hit things with your sword, and you get to see Tyrion Lannister.
Remember when Cersei sat on the Iron Throne? Oh my god! And you're gonna fight White Walkers? Like,
I'm sad. I'm just so very, very sad.
Yeah.
It looks so much like a cash grab in the negative of connotations. Like everything about this trailer was like laughable. Because, spoiler alert for Game of Thrones, the show. As I'm watching this trailer, all I can think is, why do we care about the White Walkers when, in like a year or two, Jon's little sister's gonna just stab the Night King in the gut, and then the war's gonna be over? Like, what am I fighting for? You know?
You've seen the White Walkers. You know what they could do. Not much, Jon. Not much.
Not much, buddy. They can't do much. They can apparate chains, though.
They can do that. They can.
That's pretty sick. That's about it.
They make this swirl pattern for some reason. Don't think about it. It's a cool mystery.
When I saw the swirl pattern in the trailer, I was like, "Fuck you!"
I'm like, you're not even aware of how poorly informed this is. Like, if this was just a shameless cash grab, I'd be like, yeah, sure, or like whatever. But you're including elements that you know pissed people off. Like, how do you not know?
Yeah, it's baffling to say the least.
It's really something.
Choices were made. Yeah, so that's Game of Thrones Kingsroad. I feel like no one's talking about this game, so I felt the need to like for us to be the ones to talk about it.
Yeah, I think the it's because I don't follow this shit, so I don't know. But it seems like the Game of Thrones expanded universe is beginning to peter out because I believe House of the Dragon season 2 started, right?
Season 2 came and went, brother.
Yeah, and whereas I remember the first season, most people were like, "Oh yeah, it's actually really good." Season 2 came, and I heard nothing. So
I heard bad things.
I heard the occasional bad thing. Yeah.
I have not finished it.
Yeah.
And and I don't know why, because the show didn't get like terrible or anything. I just don't feel a desire. Like the nagging sensation to keep going is not there. It just happened, and I kind of don't give a shit. Yeah.
Yeah, we've entered the worst phase where the hatred of the ending of Game of Thrones has now subsided, but now it's just turned to apathy. So like you're in the shit house.
It's the shits.
It's the shits.
It's depressing. So we have this coming out, which is like trying to like be like nostalgic of the show too. That's why it's so funny, because it's like you're trying to be nostalgic of Game of Thrones when like people don't care.
Yeah,
and people don't give a shit about it anymore.
Yeah, it's the cultural phenomenon has come and gone.
Like House of the Dragon 2 didn't really make much of a splash.
No,
kind of done, man.
It's like if we got a survival horror game based on Lost in like 2014. It's like, brother, nah, man.
That does make me think, when did the Lost game come out?
I figured there has to be.
I've played it. Lost via Domus. I did play this back in the day on the Xbox 360. It was garbage. It came out in 2008 though.
So the show is still going,
which I feel like is not a bad time.
No, that, you know, strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, and you were also now like a OC slipped into the story.
Of course, that one's more forgivable.
Yeah,
it's a whole, you know, new characters pop up all over the place, just going, I was part of the group all along.
What's so funny about Kingsroad, I can't believe there's so much to say about this, is that the other Game of Thrones game that's just called Game of Thrones, the Game of Thrones Telltale game, and then now this are all like, hey, you're some small house in the north that no one's heard about before, and you're gonna go join the Night's Watch.
Everyone knows that the only people who aren't assholes are in the north. And they're like, I don't want to be from King's Landing.
Because they don't want to have to animate King's Landing. They don't want to have to render it. That's a
good fucking point as well.
Like, why can't we have a game where it's like a Conan the Barbarian type, where you're a fucking Dothraki?
Nah, dude.
Or you're in I don't know, a Shy, or anything other than another game where you're a Night's Watchman that no one's heard of before.
No, dude, a Shy is just a rocky marsh that you pass through in the mist real quick. You don't want to see a Shy.
Why are you doing this to be God? Why? Let's talk about The Witcher now.
Okay.
So, how'd you feel about the trailer for The Witcher 4 from CD Projekt Red?
I mean, with this one being the last one of the three that I watched,
you were tired. I understand.
I was tired. I was already in the mode of, another cinematic trailer for a game. This isn't going to be indicative at all of what to expect.
No,
but the cinematic sure is pretty. But I mean, yeah, it feels like a Witcher episode in microcosm, just with Ciri instead of Geralt, where, you know, the whole thing is, you know who the real monster is? Man. And I'm like, yes, I've read some of The Witcher, I understand.
And the game's also, I think the reveal trailer for 3 was also Geralt just being like, they're not bad, they're monsters.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, is this all we got?
It is. It is all we have. No, there's more, obviously.
Well, it's what they put first and foremost every time. So
it is. I mean, hey, you know the Witcher books. It's like, are monsters really monsters? Is like every story.
I know, but it's been decades now. Come up with something else.
Decades, man. I'm sure they will once, the 100-hour game kicks off.
Yeah, we'll see.
But people weren't mad about that, Nathan.
What?
People were very upset about this trailer.
Really?
Yeah. Could you, as what I consider the most normal person I know, think of why, or what? Like, how could you be mad?
Is it because you don't see Geralt?
Why is Ciri the main character?
Because it's The Witcher 4.
No, but why is it Ciri? Why isn't it like a new character who's a man?
Oh, that's a good point.
Ciri can't be a Witcher. And also, Siri's not even a main character. She's just a secondary character.
What? That's literally false.
No, because I can't start.
God in heaven.
I can't. So Nathan, neither of us have played the Witcher games.
No.
I've read all the books. You've read some of the books. You read enough to know. Is it wild to think that after Geralt, like, his trilogy is over, that Ciri would be the obvious next main character?
Yeah, if you're gonna if you finished milking Geralt, it stands to reason that your next cow is gonna be Ciri. That's, I mean, I don't know. I guess I haven't read the books. I don't know if she's busy fucking off being the Lady of the Lake at this point. But
yeah, so I've only played half of the first game, so I'm not into the lore of the games. Which anyone trying to be like, oh, well, it doesn't make sense lore-wise, they're just retconning. Dude, the fact that the games exist is a retcon. Okay, because Geralt dies at the end of the last book. And then the games are like, no, he's fine. He just has amnesia now.
I fell asleep for a little
I fell asleep after the farmer's, like, maybe a shish kebab. Like, no, brother, the whole thing's been a retcon. Like, shut the fuck up. It's all been fanfic. Like, so first of all, you're stupid. But, like, it's kind of clear from the trailer that's, like, people also complain that Ciri was ugly. I think she just looks like how somebody would age in a world without skincare routine.
Yeah, she looks like she's been traveling around, like, rough living for a couple years.
Ciri doesn't have CeraVe. She doesn't have, like, a daily moisturizer. Like, what are you talking about? They're also like, why does she have Witcher powers and able to drink potions? They can't make new Witchers. And it's clear that she's wearing, like, not a wolf necklace medallion, but, like, a lynx medallion. So it's kind of like, if you use your brain, you could think, like, oh, I'm sure between games, because she looks like 5 to 10 years older since the last game, where she looks like a beautiful young 22-year-old model. She's like fucking Sabrina Carpenter in the third game. She's like absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And it's clear that, like, she's older now. She looks like she's been through some shit. Like, it's clear that between games, she, like, finds a different Witcher school, goes through the Trial of Grasses, and can now use Witcher potions and stuff. But it's so much easier to just yell about it. It's so much easier to just complain. And oh, it's gonna be so awful. They're gonna, like, it's gonna be so bad because now it's a woman. When it's like, you didn't even play a game or read a book.
Well, no, I was gonna say these are the people who have gone well beyond 100 hours on Witcher 3. They didn't play the first 2 games, and they haven't read any of the books, but they've played 500 hours of The Witcher 3.
And seem
like,
to
I'm
not
going to be able to joke around with Roach? Come on.
And seem to not get the ending where Geralt retires and gives Ciri his sword and is like, you're the Witcher now.
No, if you get to the ending, the mod bugs out, so you got to keep the main game going.
Yeah, because also in their mods, they cut out all the Ciri chapters and replay as her.
Exactly.
Because it's a woman, and I'm a straight man, so I can't look at a woman.
It's like, huh.
That's what baffles me, man. It's like, you don't want to play as, like, a hot chick for, like, 100 hours. You want to just look at a dude.
That's pretty sus.
That's kind of gay, man.
That's a little gay.
It's a little gay.
Just because he's a male doesn't mean you don't see that booty shake when you're watching from behind,
I saw some other people being like, they better not make Ciri gay. And I'm like, brother, 1995 just called. It's like the fourth book.
Also, you're telling me that this lonely geek playing video games in his basement is going to complain if we get some lesbian action? Come on.
Seriously. Nah, because you can't get off once he's a guy in there. It's all closeted, man.
It's, the subtext is closing in on text.
It really is. It's kind of depressing. I can't believe that this is like when I as a normal human being who was watching the reveal live, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, cool, Ciri, that makes perfect sense. I didn't even think about it, actually. It was just like, oh, cool. Witcher 4. It's Ciri. Cool. Wow. She can use Witcher powers? What's that cool necklace on her neck? That's not the wolf. Oh, cool. I have so many questions. I can't wait to play the game and find out the answers. Go on twitter.com.
Yeah, see, whereas I, again, was just in the mindset of, oh, fuck, it's The Witcher. Yeah, this sure does look like Witcher.
Boy, those people sure do act like monsters, and those monsters are people sometimes.
Yep. When will they learn?
I don't know if they fucking learn, dude. Anyway, so then there was another trailer. Let's see, Intergalactic. No, I can't get a good transparent of this. I gotta do it myself. There was a trailer for the next Naughty Dog game.
Yeah.
Which, they reminded you of who they are. Last of Us, Crash Bandicoot, more importantly.
They did.
Which is great. Actually, it's funny, there was one game that had its trailer where it was like, it said the studio name. And I think someone in the trailer went, who? And then it went from the studio that brought you Overcooked, and then they went, oh, see, I know what that is. That was pretty funny. But yeah, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet was, I think, like the last game to be revealed. It was the big, like, Naughty Dogs like has a new game, and it was like, whoa, guys, you gotta check this one out. I gotta make her maybe like reversed. There we go. And it looks like she's sipping it out of my head.
Perfect.
That's a good image, actually. I'm not going to change that for the world. Pretty short for the most part, just her talking to some chick with an eye patch, and then there's like 2 seconds of gameplay at the end.
Yeah.
So what'd you think about it? I mean, I know it's not it's not much.
It's weird because the outside aesthetic, like her ship and everything, kind of reminded me of Guardians of the Galaxy. That just bright, vibrant. She's got a fucking Porsche thing on her back. It was like, okay, this is kind of cheeky and stylized. And then like the inside, her like communication console and everything reminded me of like shit from Alien, where it's a little bit darker, grainy screen. You got to flick switches here and there. I don't. At this point, it's like a meme, but the gratuitous Sony branding all over the place is like. Do they not realize that people find that obnoxious, or do they just like not care?
I think they don't care. I think it's also like a style thing. So
yeah.
It's so funny in Gran Turismo when they do that, where it's like, I got you a Sony Walkman, David Arbor.
Yeah, it's like, fuck off. Like, this isn't what reality looks like.
Exactly. But I think for me, I liked it because it was giving me Blade Runner vibes.
Yeah.
Of like seeing real world product placement inside the fictional. It made it feel like a extension of reality.
I get you.
But yeah, so it was like fine. It was neat.
Yeah. Again, my brain tends to go smooth and my eyes glaze over when I watch cinematic game trailers, unless it's something where I am really interested in the story. I'm kind of like, okay, this tells me nothing about the game. Like, this barely tells me the vibe. It's just like, it's real impressive. I'm sure the cinematics are going to look great. But how are we going to look in game there, Haas?
Yeah, and there's like 2 seconds of it.
Yeah,
it's a cool 2 seconds. It was probably the most exciting part for me was when she like busted out like the synth wave sword and jumped on the thing.
Yeah.
So this caused, and it's still causing, I think now more than The Witcher, a riot.
Oh,
people hate this trailer.
Oh no.
Can you guess why?
Is it because it's a full male?
You are correct.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. It's because you play as a woman.
I will say one of the top comments on the video was, I feel like Will Smith is gonna slap me if I make fun of her, and that did get a chuckle out of me. That was very
See,
good.
that's a good joke.
That's good.
That's a good one.
It's like, ha, she's bald.
That one's good. That's one of the few good ones, I'd say. So yeah, people hated this because you play as a female, and she's bald. She's got a shaved head. She doesn't look like a fucking Barbie doll. Very
grungy.
Her arms are too big. She must really be a man. What's so funny about this is like, and that's one problem that people have apparently. Whereas I saw it, I was like, oh, cool. And then I got online and I was like, oh, no, I didn't even think about that because I'm normal.
Yeah.
Is like, they don't like it when a game has a male protagonist and then a subsequent sequel has a female protagonist, like with The Witcher. Even when it makes perfect sense, like Ciri was always going to be the next main character. It makes perfect fucking sense. If you even like glaze at the story from a distance, it makes sense. Like my dear husband, who does not care about The Witcher at all, has not read anything, not played, not watched. When I told them that people were mad that Ciri was the main character, he was like, but wasn't she always going to be the next main character? Like, even people who don't even like in interface with the series are like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
They were too busy playing Gwent to realize that Ciri was supposed to be the next main character.
I could almost forgive that. Almost. But yeah, so they get mad when a female takes over from a male protagonist. So, okay, fine. We'll make a whole new series with a female protagonist. Why isn't a male protagonist? Oh my god. Like they wanted people to go make their own games and keep that shit out of their franchises that they love. Which is not, in the first place, it's not even shit. It's just like, sometimes, you know, a woman takes over because of reasons, right? Like, the seeds of Ciri becoming the next main character were planted in the fucking 80s, okay?
Yeah.
It's taken us 40 years to get here.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Like, we've been waiting for this since, like, the second to third Witcher book. Leave it alone. And, you know, it's just, like, it makes sense because, like, so like, people are mad because, like, you know, we're taking away roles from male characters. And it's like, no, we're not, because no one is glazing Game of Thrones Kingsroad for having a white male protagonist. No one's talking about it. They're not championing the games that are catering to them. Which is kind of why I want to talk about Game of Thrones Kingsroad, because I feel like it would have gotten more buzz if it was a female protagonist, because it would have gotten so much hate.
Yeah.
And it's like, these people who get mad about Intergalactic for a brand new game, the first IP from Naughty Dog since The Last of Us, dares to have a female protagonist, and it's all of a sudden like a heinous crime. When it's like, other stuff has male protagonists, but you're not like championing it or talking about it, or just ignoring the like few games during the awards show that has a female protagonist and focusing on the games that do, or that do have like a male protagonist. You're not focusing on those.
Well, I mean, you know, that just goes to show that they actually are interested in the game, but this one thing is what is ruining it for them. You know, and it is that you know, two sides of the same coin, where it's like, no, I don't want this shit and stuff that already exists. Oh, why'd you make this really cool thing, but there's a chick in it? And it's like, okay, like, come on, like, if I smack my head against the wall 100 times, I could almost understand where they're coming from on The Witcher, where it's like, okay, you like playing as Geralt, you want to keep playing as Geralt, Geralt's been the main character, okay, fine. But like, this brand new fucking game, like, this is where we're starting in the arena, and if you already don't like this one thing, then I guess it's not for you. If you're interested in it, you got to give it a chance. Just maybe you'll like it. Mm-hmm. You know? Like, I didn't really give a shit about, like, Captain Marvel, right? Like I heard it was terrible, and I'd seen the stuff where Brie Larson is a PR nightmare. But then, and I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't want to watch it, so it's fine. But then when she shows up in Infinity War, that's when I'm kind of like, okay, now you are affecting something I care about, But if I like, if I guess I'm going to eventually, whenever I watch Captain Marvel, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna be on this movie's home turf, Like I gotta let it try at least,
Yeah. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, sure, that's a movie. But yeah, it's a good point what you said, though. I'm going to circle back. Is like they probably watched this and were like, they loved everything about it except for the simple fact that the main character is a debatably unattractive female. Yeah. When it's like, did that stop you from enjoying like Terminator or Alien 3 when Ripley shaves her head, or Terminator 2 when Sarah Connor's buff as fuck and like taking like doing shit? Or like, did it make you hate Mad Max Fury Road because Furiosa was a strong in charge woman with a shaved head? Like, these other things that have existed, did you get upset when you were watching them because it had a strong female lead? Or is the fact that like they're safe because they're in the nostalgia bubble, but everything that's new is somehow bad because it's taking away potential roles from male protagonists, when it's like there's plenty of them? It's not about making sure it's equal. It's about allowing it to be equal. It's about allowing it to have a chance. It's so that an artist can say, hey, I feel like the main character is like an Asian woman with a shaved head. And then being able to be in an environment where you can do that. And then equally, you can be like, I want the main character to be a white guy. And games come out all the time with a white male protagonist, and they will forever. You're not going to lose that. It's just they think that it's being taken away, when in reality it's we're allowing it to even just occupy a corner of the room.
Yeah, the games that you want are not going anywhere, basically. It's like let's share the sandbox a little bit here, kids.
Yeah, and like it's also bizarre to me that you can't enjoy a game because the main character is like a chick. Like, how is that impeding your enjoyment?
Well, not to mention, like, it's just it's like I feel like the trailer is just not enough to go on, and again, because it's just a cinematic trailer. Like, you have no idea what this game is going to be.
Yeah, it's just saying, hey guys, we're making this game. Yeah. Wish list now on Steam, please.
Yeah, exactly. It's like here's the most we can show you at the moment. It's not much.
Yeah, we built this little thing for you. Hope you're hyped for this to come out in 2 years when it's done.
Yeah.
It's lunacy. I've been going insane being on any social media app and like trying new ones, and then that's all I see on there too. Is everyone like either being mad about it or being mad that people are mad about it? And it's just like, how is this even a talking point? It just should have been like, hey, that looked kind of cool. I can't wait to see more.
Yeah.
Instead, it's this like made up culture war where it's like you literally can't play a game where you can allow the fact that the main character is not like your gender. You can't enjoy the story. Like when you were playing Crash Bandicoot, did you go, man, Crash is like a weird little like bandicoot? It's not like a dude? Fucking hate Crash Bandicoot, piece of shit.
Damn.
Or did you go and play Crash Bandicoot and go, man, Crash Bandicoot's not fuckable? Because some people are like, oh, it's okay that she's a woman. She's just not hot enough. It's like, I don't know, bro. Maybe she shaves her head because her fucking spaceship, like, it sucks to wash your hair in like a zero-G spaceship. It's probably easier to just shave that shit off every day than it is to, like, buy space shampoo.
Yeah, or you're like a bounty hunter combatant person, and you need a little less something for people to grab onto when you're fighting.
Yeah, there's so many reasons, like practical reasons. Like it's dumb to even have to think of like a reason why it's okay. Like you should just accept the fact that this character has a ball, whatever. Who gives a fuck? Like, were you as a child watching DBZ going, why is Goku's hair so big and spiky? No, motherfucker. You were just saying Kamehameha, and you were happy because you hadn't been polluted with like politics.
It's true.
I read some comics. I'll go through it real quick because we're at 2 hours and I want to set up my new computer.
Yeah, treat yourself.
I really wanted to bitch about this stuff with a normal human being who like is not going to be like, whoa, motherfucker.
You mean you're not outraged?
I'm outraged that there's outrage. I'm like, why? Why would you do this? Also, they hate the writer of Last of Us 2 because Last of Us 2 was bad, and it's like, I just think it's poorly paced. Like, why'd you set up this character to be so despicable and hated, and then eventually be like, oh, play as them? And I was like, oh, for like an hour, and the game was like, no, like 10. I'm like, you gotta dole that out, man.
Listen, you need like Scorsese level writing to give me the arc of, oh no, this person that you thought was a piece of shit, they were good all along. Like that's so hard to do. Like if you spend so much time making me hate this person and now I'm supposed to like them, ooh boy.
And you're stuck with them for like 10 plus hours.
Yeah, no, I hate the game now.
Yeah. That's why I'm excited for the show, because I'm like, oh, cool. I don't have to like physically control this person in a 3D space. And B, because it's a show, I'm sure they'll cut back and forth.
Yeah, is season 2 confirmed?
I think they're already done filming.
Oh damn. Okay.
I know Pedro's definitely done with his shots. I think
what?
I made a joke about Pedro being done with his scenes.
Oh. Okay.
I think they said they're going to split the game up because I think like the game is like 3 times the size of Last of Us 1.
Oh god.
And they did cut a lot from Last of Us 1, to be fair.
Damn.
It's still a phenomenal show. Craig Mazin's fantastic. I can't wait for season 2 because I'm like, I get to finally enjoy this fucking story. Because, like, I played the game and I was like, oh, cool, this is so fun. And then I got to, an hour into the Abby stuff and I was like, how much longer is left? Like, 10 minutes? Oh, 9 more hours.
Oh.
I will not be playing this.
No.
Maybe the show will do the legwork of making me like her so that I can go back and play the game.
There you go. Maybe so.
So I read some comics in the last week. I started Birds of Prey number 15. It's pretty solid. It was a continuing number 14, which I started last time. It's been more of a mystery going on with the whole yada yada. I read Action Comics number 1074 and 1075. 1074 was really fucking good. 1075, I got a bone to pick. I'll talk about that in a moment.
Oh, no.
1074, Kal-El got shot back through time in the Phantom Zone, and he lashed onto a wall, crawled out of the vortex, and ended up on Krypton before the explosion.
Oh my god.
And he has to go incognito when he's talking to his dad and his mom, and he sees how the Phantom Zone was stolen from his dad and made to be like a prison thing, when the dad was like, no, I wanted to use it to shield ourselves until we found a new home so we can all hide in the Phantom Zone and get out of Krypton before it blows up.
Oops.
Great. The Superman, the Superboy story. It's Super Dash Man, by the way. And they even make a joke about how you can't pronounce the dash.
Oh.
It's a different guy. their story barely progressed. They got like 2 pages in this comic, and then Supergirl continues to be interesting but confusing. That brings us to 1075. So okay, here's my beef.
Yeah.
I have beef with this one. Individual stories are fine. It had a lot of stories in this one. There was I think this was the one that actually showed the Phantom Zone's like purpose on Krypton being taken from Kal-El's dad. It had a cool little short comic of Perry White, the editor at Daily Planet. Yeah, running for mayor, and him like walking through Metropolis, remembering his youth. It was very cute.
Cool.
Had a Supergirl story where it was fine, but it was part of what made the comic not good for me. So I've discussed.
It was about a woman.
Yeah, you got so loud. You definitely ate the mic on that one.
I'm gonna rub chilies into your eyes.
So there's different. So Batman, Superman, they have their own solo comics, but then they show up in other comics. So you got Batman, and then you have Detective Comics, then you have Batman and Robin, Then you got Justice League. So he'll show up in different things. Same with Superman. You got Superman, you got Action Comics, you got Justice League, I'm sure he shows up in other stuff too. And that is already dumb. I already hate that. I already think you should die. But I'll accept it. Okay? I will accept that this is happening, and I will move on. I think it's dumb, but I kind of just in my head, I try to make it be like, okay, so for some reason, this story is happening at a different time from the other stories. Sure.
Yeah.
And I just like accept and I move on and I make my fucking peace with it. I think it's stupid. I think you should have a more consistent timeline with your story. But whatever, sure. So this Action Comic run with Superman has been him in the Phantom Zone, dealing with why the Phantom Zone people were escaping and why they have corporeal form, why they're able to exist. And he's like, okay, I gotta deal with this problem. This series has also been cutting back and forth between what Supergirl's been doing. She's gone on this big quest to find this prisoner and bring him to justice or whatever. I assume that because these stories were in the same comic, that they would, for some reason, somehow be related. I was a fool.
Oh.
I was a big dummy Dummerson. They are, in fact, unrelated stories.
Boo.
Because the whole time I was like, okay, because once Kal-El got stuck in the Phantom Zone, I was like, oh shit. He's in the Phantom Zone now. I wonder if what Supergirl's doing with this prisoner, who is apparently like a destroyer of worlds, I wonder if somehow she'll convince him to help somehow to get Kal-El stuck out of the Phantom Zone.
No.
No, that is not what happens. Because in this issue, when it starts the Supergirl part of the story, they're on Earth, and it's Power Girl and Superman. And Power Girl's like, hey, it's great that Kara has been gone for so long. People are stopping like to not confuse us anymore. But like, what's she been up to? And Superman's like, I can't tell you. Only she can do this very important mission. And then it cuts back to her mission. And just that little page broke everything for me.
Yeah.
Because I, the whole time, was like, okay, if you're showing these stories together, there's got to be a reason. No. Because it is now confirmed that, like, this is not happening while Kal-El is stuck in the Phantom Zone. this is happening at some point when he's not stuck in the Phantom Zone. But then you have Power Girl that mentions that Supergirl is out in space doing this mission. So, like, my issue with this is, like, when is everything happening? When? When are we doing this?
You'll find out when we do the omnibus.
Ooh, ooh.
That's always like, because I haven't done a whole lot of following comics. I think I've made a timeline here and there, and I intend to go like, okay, these stories from different comics are like intersected, so I assume that we're going off of order of release because this is how the story would have been doled out originally. And then you look at the omnibus that collects the stories, and it's like, oh no, the first 3 happen way back here, and then the middle 3 they're actually all together, and it's like, oh, what the motherfuck?
Yeah, that's me right now, man. As I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta like, and then they're in the Perry White section. Clark's there, and I'm like, oh, when does he go to the Phantom Zone?
Well, see, you would have found out if you had read Superman Annual, which comes out in this one specific magazine and slots perfectly in between these comics.
Actually, I have to read Superwoman Annual that just came out. That's in my pile. Thank you for reminding me.
Got you.
The pile is it's so much. I read other stuff. I read this was my husband's recommendation. I started reading The Hexiles from Mad Cave Studios. What is it, indie press? To give you the short and sweet, it feels like Mike Flanagan's Hill House meets X-Men.
Okay.
It's a solid start. It's basically like this guy made deals with all these demons. And for every deal, he had to offer up a kid. So he just slid it around and sired a bunch of bastards. And now the guy's dead. And all these kids are brought to his funeral. And they're like, I don't know this guy or any of you. And then the funeral director's like, oh, he was all your guys' dads. And they were like, oh, that sucks. But now, like, we're all demons and we're here to collect his debt because he's dead now. But because of the deals he made with demons, all the kids have like special powers that are like demon gross powers. And now they're on the run.
See, this sounds like what New Mutants should have been.
Yeah.
Because that was them being like, hey, what if mutant stuff was like a horror movie? And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Right?
This does feel like the Haunting of Hill House, but then it's X-Men. So it's good so far, as I'm trying to say. I have he put issue number 2 somewhere in my pile. He just slotted it in somewhere. I read Ultimate X-Men number 7. It continues to be amazing. And then I read Batgirl number 2, and it is better than number 1. I will not be dropping it, like how I dropped Power Girl.
Okay.
Batgirl number 2 calmed down, it slowed down the pacing, focused on the characters more, focused on what's happening, and it was a lot better. Thank God. It also helps that Lady Shiva is in Black Canary, and then Batgirl is in Birds of Prey. So I'm kind of... It's getting an assist.
Okay. Yeah,
but it is a helpful assist. So I will keep reading it. I'll see how I feel after this little 6-issue run, if I want to really keep going. But yeah, it's good so far. That's what I've read. I've been a little bit lax. I went to the comic shop last week, and I picked up a few comics, not a lot, because my pile is very big. But I grabbed the new Action Comics, Superwoman Annual. I grabbed the Superman run that I'm reading. I grabbed the first 5 issues in like a trade paperback, so I can get caught up. I picked up Wesley Dodd's The Sandman, which is like a newer Sandman comic. That's not Neil Gaiman's Sandman. It's like OG Sandman, I think.
Gotcha.
And then I picked up a fun one-shot Evil Dead 2, A Merry Deadite Xmas.
Right.
And I put it under my tree for Christmas.
Perfect.
That's my gift to me. as I will on Christmas morning with hot cocoa read my Evil Dead Christmas book. So Action Comics continues to be pretty good. Probably my favorite out of what I'm reading, even if it is a little confusing. Why isn't the Supergirl part its own comic? I don't know. I am not in charge. I'm happy I'm back on Ultimate X-Men. I took a bit of a break. And that's the comic update.
I didn't read any comics. I'm over halfway through House of Leaves, so that's been fun.
Oh God.
And I am almost I almost finished my rewatch of Everyman Hybrid, so getting a good blend of that type of horror, as
That is a good one. In the resurgence of the Slenderverse.
Yes, which the video that Joe and I might have recorded something from came out.
Did it?
It did. And it's very cool. It they do the classy crossover thing where in the video description there's actually links to all of the channels. So I'm like, wow, look at the community. We got a whole bunch here.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, it warmed the cockles of my heart.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, buddy.
And I think that's it. Is that it? It's it went a little over.
I think that's it for me.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much for listening. Oh, Henry Cavill Warhammer.
That's right.
I already saved the thumbnail, but I'm just happy to say that it got confirmed. I'm a happy boy. They have to decide where they've decided where they're going to start. We just haven't heard it yet. So yeah, more news to follow on that. But I'm just happy. I just wanted to say it. I didn't say it last week, and I was so. We got done recording, and the first thing I said was no.
Yeah, that is very good because I believe they had a deadline till I forget if it was the end of the year or a specific date in December. Like I feel like it was like for whatever reason my brain has conjured December 21st. If like they hadn't reached an arrangement by that time, he was free to shop it around.
Yeah.
But they came to the agreement. I hope that this is the beginning of a happy story and not something that like 25 years later we'll learn about all the Faustian deals that Cavill made in order to get this made.
Yes.
So yeah,
I think his evil deal was I'll be in Argyle.
We'll see.
But thank you all so much. I'm gonna go eat some dinner and set up my computer.
I'm gonna go appease my munchies that I've had for the past.
Yeah, how are the brownies been, buddy?
Really good. They didn't stink when I cooked them.
Good.
I didn't taste anything.
Oh, good.
Besides delicious brownie when I had them.
Oh, beautiful.
And the high kicked in within like 10 minutes. So it's wild. It's good stuff.
That's fantastic. Oh, I breaking news. Breaking news. A new sci-fi RPG just got announced called Exodus. And it is a
Gods and Kings?
Yes, it's by the lead designer on KOTOR and Dragon Age Origins, and written by the writer of KOTOR and Mass Effect, Drew Karpyshyn. So,
right.
And it looks like this trailer has gameplay, so we'll talk about it more next week.
Hey, you heard it here first. You're going to hear it from us in a week.
You heard it here first, folks. We're going to talk about a game that has a reveal today that in a week we'll talk about that it came out.